Rockeyez would like to welcome Adam Holland. Hey, Adam, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Good. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate
Cool,
it.
cool, cool. The press release for the new Valentine's demos from the attic says that a bunch of old recordings were found in storage. Um, how did that release finally see the light of day?
Well, during COVID, which everyone was home, and we got approached by 20th Century Music, and you know when we first got approached, they asked us if we had any unreleased recordings, and when we did Soul Salvation in 210, we thought we had actually used a lot of the things that we had done, but then we realized that we had sort of there was a phase before Open Skies, like, I guess 90, 89, 90, 91, where we'd actually started to prepare for another Valentine record.
Right.
And we had lots of recordings. We'd actually purchased some studio equipment and made a little home studio. And those were discovered by Craig and Gerard, literally in their basements and attics, like tucked away. It was really, that's why we forgot about them.
Right.
So that was the discovery. And that, therefore, the name came from that.
Right. Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, after the heyday of Valentine's and then Open Skies, what did you do prior to starting to play music again in the Journey tribute band, Evolution?
Well, what I did, actually, I was from like late 90s, like 98 to
Right.
like when I mid 2000s, I through a couple of different friends and family members and people I knew in the industry, I was a staff writer at a company called Murrah Music in Nashville.
Uh-huh.
I didn't live there, but I would kind of commute. I'd go maybe every 6 weeks for a couple of days, and I was able to, become a staff writer at a little small publisher down in Nashville, and it was an incredible time for me. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of things on hold. I never had anything recorded, but I got to write with some of the, A-listers of the time, and it was really, for me, an incredible experience.
Right. Wow.
And also, myself and Tom Mayo from Open Skies had a band, kind of a 90s kind of sounding band. It was called Third from the Sun.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And
Cool.
some of that music is on my website, actually. I put it up there recently.
Now you're gonna have people coming there to check it out. you know.
Cool. No, that's why it's there.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. What led to the formation of Evolution?
Um, well, Hugo, who we all know is, phenomenal
Right.
singer, frontman, who is literally just, I don't, there's no escaping it. He looks and sounds like Steve Perry. It's an incredible thing. And when everything settled after, Valentine and Open Skies in the early 2000s,
Right.
I guess there was sort of the beginning of tribute bands where you tried to sort of emulate a full band as opposed to just a cover band playing multiple songs. The tribute band world became alive. So Hugo, wanting to play music, and finally said, screw it. I look like this guy, I sound like this guy. Might as well try and utilize that to something, for something. And he started Evolution.
Right.
And he did a couple of years of Evolution before I joined. Then he asked me to join. He's like, listen, let's play. We're all brothers. Let's do it.
Right.
And I was, I didn't. At first, I was like, wow, I hadn't played in a while. I just was like, I was a little hesitant, but then I'm like, I love Hugo, and we had a great time.
Right.
And then Gerard got involved and managed the band, so we were kind of back in the groove again. It was nice.
Cool.
And we had a great time. We had a really. I didn't think it was going to be that great, but we really had a wonderful time.
Excellent. Can you talk a little bit about the show that Evolution played in 2009, Bamboozle in New Jersey, and what transpired from that show?
Well, that's an interesting question. We did play a show called Bamboozle in New Jersey, and I think we learned a lesson. We played the show. It was sort of, the whole thing was to be sort of it was before video screens and the big thing. So I guess they wanted us to come on, and they wanted, the resemblance of Steve Perry to be, maybe people would think for a minute, oh my God, it's Journey.
Right.
And, then realize, okay, it's not, it's a tribute band, and, no problem. So, and however, because there wasn't really screens, people did think it was Journey. It kind of didn't really go as we wanted it to go.
Right.
And same, everyone involved. So, and it wasn't, we meant no harm. It was really supposed to be good fun. And again, being in a tribute band, literally, you are paying tribute to an artist. It's not, we're not trying to pretend we are the artist.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so that it got a little, it just didn't come across as it was supposed to. It was supposed to be a little more humorous.
Right.
And I don't think the guys in Journey were, it was just a little, it didn't come off as planned.
Right. Wow. Wow.
But having said that, it was an incredible show. We played. I mean, it was a lot of fun and it was enjoyable. I think people there got it. They were like, "Oh my God, that's just." They figured it out in 2 songs. It's not Journey,
Yeah.
But then, people were texting. I think it was YouTube, but if you weren't there, maybe some of the guys in Journey were like, "Wait, what the X going on here? What's going on?" So we weren't trying to pretend we were Journey. We never were trying to do that. It was always a tribute to Journey. So.
Right. 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 So when did you ever hook up with Steve to play in his band? How'd that go down?
Well, we actually knew Steve even before his days in Journey. His band Tall Stories and Open Skies both toured with Mr. Big at different times. Like we kind of jumped on and off the tour at different times with Mr. Big. So we sort of had a relationship. Our managers knew each other, and they were on Epic. So we knew him, and he was a New York guy. So we sort of, that's when it started. That was in the mid-'90s. He obviously went on to be in Journey. And then later on at Firefest, when Valentine played, I'm not sure if the first or second one we did, I'm not 100% sure.
Right.
Tall Stories also played. So we were all hanging out backstage and, reuniting a little bit. And I had done some work on Staten Island. He's from there. So we sort of rekindled the friendship. And then also with that meeting, Evolution was playing these monthly cast party shows next door to the Broadway show Rock of Ages.
Right, yeah.
And so basically we did this thing. It was pretty cool. Like the cast would come over and we'd have some sort of 80s type of celebrity like Twisted Sister or somebody. And Steve Augeri sat in with us. We invited him to sit in with us on one of those nights. And he did, and it was a lot of fun. And they were like there wasn't really a concert. It was more like a hang. It was a very interesting, cool hang because it was more like a bar and we were playing and it was, people would jump up. It was very cool. And if you had a ticket from the show, it got you into this event. You know what I'm saying? So it was meant to bring people after the show, like an after party for the Broadway show. So we met Steve at one of those, and then he's like, wow, we just started to get to know each other again and talk. And actually it was Gerard and Steve Augeri who were talking about forming a band because Gerard wasn't in Evolution, and Craig wasn't in Evolution. But so, I don't know, somehow we decided to it would become, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly the details, but somehow it led to us, he's like, I want to get a band together. I don't want it to be a tribute band. So it just led to that, us joining with him. And we did a couple, it wasn't like we set out, let's form a band. We did a couple of shows to do a couple of shows. Then it obviously gelled, and it's been 11 years now.
Wow. That's really cool,
It is cool, yeah. I guess that's a good thing when you don't even know. It just naturally happened, and it's been a great run. So, and just to conclude that, which was a good thing when I decided to leave Evolution to go with Steve Augeri, my good friend and my substitute guitar player for Evolution, Rob Hoffman, who's a wonderful guitar player manager. He stepped in full time with Evolution, and they continued and have grown. So each band sort of grew when that happened in a nice way. So, and we're all still, we're all still family and brothers, and it's all good.
Right. You started a podcast, Band Forever, earlier this
year.
Correct. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that and how has it been so far? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you for bringing that up. That was, something like we're doing now. You're a guy, I've known you for a while. You love to talk about music and the details that go into the bands and all the cool stuff that people may not know about.
Right.
And so you get it. And I knew my own story, and I also started through the years of playing with Steve Augeri, met so many musicians like myself who've been in the industry for decades and played with different labels, but are not famous to be on Eddie Trunk's show. And I don't mean that negatively, but just not in that level. But the stories are still fantastic. And in particular, one drummer we worked with for a while named Joey Casada, who was in the band Z-Rock. He was on a TV show. He'd done so many things, and he wrote a book.
Right.
And he's like, you guys have such a great story, but no one knows it. So I kind of did it, the first one, to almost tell the story of Valentine, Open Skies, and my own story. But then I realized I wanted to do a podcast. I really like the technical part of the podcast, editing,
Right.
recording, putting it together with the music. I actually really enjoy that. So I'm like, I want to try it and see. I've never done it. I have to try it to see what it's like, what's the process. So I started it. I went about the process of starting it, and so far, it's been great. I've done about 10 episodes, and like I said, I did the first one with the guys from Valentine. I've had Joey Casada on. I've had Rob Hoffman. I've had people and people you
Right.
don't know, and coming up, I have all different types of guys. John Levin, who are friends of mine. Producer Bob St. John from the Extreme Days. Guys who have great stories and interesting lives, and
Right.
have maintained in this industry, but yet people don't know they're behind the scenes, and they're behind the scenes. It's somewhere between like VH1, behind the music, and Spinal Tap. Everybody has some funny story,
Right.
getting to where they have to get to, and if they didn't meet this person for coffee one day, this wouldn't have happened, and vice versa. So those kind of things
Right.
is what made me want to start it. So,
Wow.
and it kept going. So and the response has been good, and so I'm enjoying it. I seem to have an audience that enjoys it, and so far so good.
Cool, cool, cool. Now, Valentine got back together in 2019 for a memorial show for Todd, who was
Correct.
he was Night Ranger's manager for many years and stuff like that.
Correct.
Yeah. What was the Valentine's connection with Todd, and how is it playing on stage as Valentine again?
The first part of the question, how we know Todd Compasori.
Right.
Todd Compasori is a childhood. We grew up with him in the clubs of Long Island. That's how we met him back in Lemoore, the Long Island days.
Right.
And he's worked with the bands on that bill that night were all bands that he was the tour manager for. So he was currently the tour manager for Night Ranger. He worked with us he worked every gig we ever played back in the day. He toured with Open Skies with us. He toured with Trickster for years. He toured with Danger for years. And all those bands played this event to honor his life. He unfortunately passed, as a young man, unfortunately. Right. So, we say he lived the life. Let me say that. You know what I'm saying? I guess it caught up with him. So, but he was a super smart guy, a hardworking guy, and very talented and well respected in the industry. He worked with Kiss. He worked with Prince. He worked with the Go-Go's. He worked, huge names. Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Big league stuff. So he was a great guy, and we all wanted to do, instead of having some type of memorial service, we had a memorial concert for him, and so that's how we all tied into that. And we have known those guys. We all know all those guys forever. So it was really nice we really had a nice time. So I must say it was really nice, and of course, bittersweet.
Yep.
And then the other part of the question is, it's always great to play with the guys in Valentine. It's just always great. It's like an old pair of jeans. You get, in 2 seconds. There's not much to think about. It happens. We barely have to even practice, and it just, boom, we're playing, it's like old friends. It's a good thing. Sometimes there are people, you don't see them for a couple of years, then you see them and as if you saw them 5 minutes ago, that's
Right,
that type of relationship.
Yeah.
So that's how it is with the guys, and Craig and Gerard I play with literally every week, so we could do it in our sleep. And Mikey Morales, he's been in Valentine since 2008, and he was in the Steve Argiri band. He now plays with Dennis DeYoung. He came in to play with us, and he knew Todd very well too from various things. So the answer to your question, it was great. It's always great to do anything with those guys because the history is still there, and it's all good.
Cool, cool. Do you foresee Valentine playing live again at any point?
We don't have anything planned right now, but it seems to happen every couple of years. So I can't, I'm sure it will happen. I can't tell you when it'll happen, but somehow it seems to keep happening. So if history repeats, there'll be something. So
cool.
The good thing is we're all kind of, just life is busy, and COVID is a real strange one because we couldn't get together. But we did put out this record. It was one thing that we wanted to do during COVID was organize this group of songs, master them. There's a bunch of live video we had to cull through and edit down, and that's on the DVD. So that was our COVID Valentine project. So we were all in touch the whole time, which was nice. Cool. And the question is, yeah. I mean, we haven't been offered any shows, but you never know. We're always open for it. That's the answer.
Cool, cool. Is there anything else going on that you'd like to talk about?
The only other thing that we touched, you did a great job. You touched on all the topics: Steve Augeri band, podcast, Valentine. Steve Augeri has a new. We also did that over COVID. We went through every song we had laying around, and Steve did as well, and pulled out some old songs from his Journey days. And he has I don't even know what you call it these days, an album, a CD. It'll be some type of a collection of music. I don't know what you call it, but
Yeah.
he's gonna. That's in the final stages of being mixed right now, and then that'll come out. I don't think there's any rush, but it'll come out hopefully in the next couple of months. And
Right.
that's the next thing on the horizon.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, I have to thank my senior staff writer, Mark Ballo. I don't know if that name rings a bell or not, but Mark Ballo,
Yeah, no, it does. It does. Yes,
yes,
absolutely.
my writer, he came up with the questions for me. So,
Oh, that's
I
good.
got to
They were
thank
great
him.
questions.
Yeah, he loves you guys. So
No,
like,
yes, I know that, and I appreciate that. I know, we've met through the years, and I know that he's a fan, and his questions are spot on. So good job, good job.
cool, cool. Would you like to say anything in conclusion?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to our fans. What's great about social media, the world we live in now, is that people from all over the world. I mean, literally the Netherlands, Japan. I'm contacted by, so many people, and it's just incredible. So I want to say thank you, and I appreciate it. We all do, and we appreciate even the fact that we get to really re-release this music, that people will enjoy it, that would never have been heard. So I think you get older, you get more appreciative, and we are really appreciative of the careers we've had and still have, and the opportunity to present new music to the world, and that people still want to hear it is just incredible. And even though we never were like a multi-platinum band, we had fans, and they're still out there, and it's just incredible. So
Cool, cool.
I appreciate it. And I guess people could find me, Adam Holland Music. Will take it to everywhere you need to go. It takes you to the podcast, my Instagram. You can email me. I respond. So we're interactive, and we enjoy all the comments and everything. So
Cool, cool. Thanks so much, Adam.
my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for keeping all this type of music out there alive and well. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Talk to you later.
Awesome, man. Great.
Bye-bye.